Room 6B. I've never told this story before. Even now I hesitate. But the dreams haven't stopped, and I can still hear her whisper my name in that cracked glass voice. So maybe this is my way of warning you. Or maybe I just need someone to believe me before she comes back. The night shift. I was a night shift nurse at St. Mary's Regional Hospital in a small town in upstate New York. The kind of place that looks clean and modern on the outside, but deep inside, it's rotting. Everyone knew about the old wing, the part of the hospital that was supposed to have been sealed off after the psychiatric unit closed in the late 90s. But during high patient load, they still used a few of the rooms down that hall. They never said why they didn't just renovate or demolish it. Budget cuts, probably. One hallway, 6 patient rooms, 1 janitor closet, 1 nursing station that still had a rotary phone on it, and room 6B. Rumors. We all joked about 6B. It was part of the hospital's folklore. Don't fall asleep in 6B, they'd say. Don't answer if someone knocks from the inside. Or my favorite, if you see a woman in a patient gown standing in the corner, pretend you didn't. The story went something like this. Back in the 1970s, a patient named Evelyn Marsh was brought into psych after she murdered her children and tried to take her own life. She never spoke a word while she was alive, just sat in her room, staring at the far wall. One night, she scratched her own eyes out using her fingernails. She didn't die, not immediately. She screamed for hours. Staff said it didn't sound human. When she finally bled out, they sealed the room. But some said she never left. The assignment. I'd never been posted to the old wing until a rainy Tuesday night in October. My coworker, Emily, called in sick, and we were short-staffed. The supervisor asked me to cover one patient who had been temporarily transferred to 6B. An elderly woman, Mrs. Halperin. Advanced dementia, nonverbal. Just check her every hour. She sleeps most of the time anyway, the supervisor said. I hesitated, joked about 6B. She just rolled her eyes and handed me the clipboard. By midnight, the rain was coming down hard. The rest of the hospital was buzzing. Code blues, ambulance calls, the usual chaos. But the old wing was quiet. Too quiet. Like the walls had forgotten how to echo sound. The fluorescent lights flickered. The floor tiles were yellowed and cracked. The air smelled like disinfectant and mildew. My shoes stuck slightly as I walked. When I entered 6B, Mrs. Halperin was asleep. I remember she looked small under the sheets, almost swallowed by the bed. But when I came back from my 2 a.m. check, everything changed. She woke up. The moment I stepped in, I knew something was wrong. The room felt too dark, even with the lights on. Cold air prickled my arms. My breath fogged slightly, like the heat had been turned off. And then I saw her. Mrs. Halperin was sitting upright, eyes wide open, staring straight at me. She hadn't spoken a word in days, but now she said, with a voice like a child, "She doesn't like you." My stomach dropped. I forced a smile. "Who, Mrs. Halperin?" She pointed toward the wall. "The lady. The one who screams when it's quiet." The lights above her flickered once. then twice, then burst with a pop. Darkness. Trapped. I fumbled for my flashlight. The door. It wouldn't budge. The handle turned, but the door stayed shut, like it had been welded shut from the other side. That's when I heard it. Whispers. Soft, like breath against your neck. Let me in. Let me in. I was here first. It wasn't coming from the room. It was coming from inside the walls. And then I heard something slide. The IV stand moved on its own, creaking as it dragged across the floor. I turned, and she was gone. Mrs. Halperin's bed was empty. The sheets were crumpled, like someone had just gotten up. I backed away toward the door, heart pounding, and turned my flashlight across the room. And that's when I saw her. The thing in the corner. She was in the top corner of the room, above the bed, stuck to the ceiling like a spider. Her head twisted at an impossible angle, eyes black and bleeding. A hospital gown hung from her like torn paper. She smiled, and the skin on her cheeks split open. You finally came. You belong here now. She dropped. No, glided off the ceiling toward me. I screamed, slammed against the door, slammed again. Then, suddenly, the door flew open. Aftermath. I don't remember much after that. Just nurses shouting, bright lights, someone pulling me out. Security found me collapsed outside the ER entrance. My hands were bleeding. I was barefoot. They said I'd left my post and abandoned my patient. But Mrs. Halperin was dead. Had been for hours before I even got there. There was no record of her being transferred to 6B. I was placed on leave, then let go a month later. They said I had a breakdown, stress, overwork. But I know what I saw, and I know she's still in there. One last warning. St. Mary's still operates. They still use the old wing when beds shorten. And room 6B still shows up in rotation, though no one stays there long. Sometimes I see news online. A nurse found catatonic. A patient who vanished. Security footage that cuts out from 2 to 3 a.m. every night. So if someone you love ends up at St. Mary's, ask which room they're in. And if it's 6B, get them out before she does.